My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And before we get started, it's time to wish a happy birthday to one of our own. It's Jessie's birthday this month. Woo!
Hey, happy birthday!
Congratulations! Congratulations!
I'm one of those few people that this is my second birthday in quarantine.
Yay!
Woo!
So partying it up.
Yes.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
So we do a little thing here on the Certified Noonas for everyone's birthday. They get to decide purely by themselves what the topic of the episode will be. No one can argue with them about what the topic is. And so this week we are going to be talking about one of Jessie's favorite girl groups. I know you're thinking Dreamcatcher, but we're going back. We're before Dreamcatcher existed. We're going to talk about MissA, a quartet of ladies under JYPE. JYPE.
Yes.
Jessie, you want to take her away?
I love how he would announce the name.
You understand, reasons why you would do that because everybody now knows. They're all JYP song, You get it.
I will admit, every time I hear the JYP, I laugh, but I'm always just what an ego on the man. You can produce a song and not have to say your friggin' initials before it. Jesus.
I can't remember which song it was, but one of the songs that it was it starts with JYP, and then it starts with JYP, and he's there singing, and it just felt like, why are you centering this around you?
Yeah.
Well, he used to do that with his, stuff pre-making the company, too. It was a thing that he did.
It's just... it doesn't sit right with me. A lot of things
I understand that, but, it really is, it's, the same, marketing strategy as,
having
a catchy song that includes a phone number. Everybody's gonna know it, So,
Yep. Although,
get it.
Jason Derulo! Or,
how, SM used to do it for all of their music videos. They would have all the, the codes and, the scroll at the bottom of, all the genie stuff, and,
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm here to talk about a girl group that is no longer with us and make you fall in love with them.
They're still alive.
They're still alive, yes. But they're no longer a girl group. So, technically, MissA is no longer alive. So, happy birthday to me.
You really started this out on a positive note.
You know what? I am just, getting across how much I miss them, because I very much do. They're part of my, trio that I miss a lot. Anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about, the group and how they're formed and the members and stuff, and then we can talk fun stuff about them. So, again, MissA is a 4-member girl group under JYP Entertainment. They debuted in 2010. They actually were originally not supposed to be the group that they were. They started out as a project group called JYP Sisters, and at the time, JYP was trying to focus on Chinese activities and doing stuff in the Chinese market. And so they wanted to take a lot of their Chinese trainees and put them into a group so that they could focus their efforts on that. And that's what they did. They were kind of dubbed the Chinese Wonder Girls because that's kind of their route. They were going to be the sister to Wonder Girls as it was at that time. So it consisted of 5 members, 4 of them being Chinese, and then 1 of them being Korean. They were first introduced during 2AM's Time of Confession album Chinese promotions, and they also did some variety show work there. So there was a little bit of a presence, and you can still see those videos too online of what they were doing. The members of the group contained Faye and Jia, who are both part of MissA, and 2 other Chinese trainees that I don't know much about. And then the Korean member was Woo Hanim, who you might recognize, because in like 2010 is when the project group kind of dissolved, because a person who we know and love have talked about before on this podcast, Sunmi, left her group at the time, Wonder Girls. And so JYPE decided to take Haerim, the only Korean member of this project group, and put her in Wonder Girls. And now you know who she is, and she was very well loved in Wonder Girls, and she still is loved to this day. So that kind of like changed up things, and especially because the two other Chinese trainees also left, ? It's really hard to find anything about these like other Chinese trainees. So I'm hoping they're doing well. That just left Faye and Jia. So when that happened, JYP kind of shifted their focus not to really focus on Chinese promotions, but kind of, and they decided to keep Faye and Jia in the group, and they brought in a new third member who is a trainee that was very young. They hadn't had for very long, and that trainee was Suji, who you all know and love.
Yes.
But she's very, very young. So the three of them actually got a deal with Samsung Electronics before they debuted, and did a pre-debut song called Love Again. It was for their Samsung Anti-Call promotions. So at the time, they were only 3 members for the group, and they both promoted in China and Korea for this Samsung promotion. Closer towards when they decided to debut the group, they added a 4th member, Min, who was a trainee. She had just came back from doing stuff in the US, and to make the 4, and then they debuted with Bad Girl, Good Girl, which a lot of people know. It's a very, very popular song. It's probably one of their most popular songs. It did very well. So that's how the group came to be. So they're 2 Koreans and 2 Chinese members. So that kind of plays with their name title, MissA. It's kind of like a play on Miss Asia. And then all of them having pretty good backgrounds in like their dancing and singer careers. So they were like A-class abilities is what they said. Their genre of music is like centered more into R&B and kind of like dance electronica, but more R&B vocal-led music. Overall message is very strong female empowerment. I think out of most every group, they actually did this the most, especially in their lyrics. Like there are a lot of girl groups out there who are doing strong themes like this. Like we talked about Sistar, but like almost every song that they had, MissA was literally like, I can do better. I don't need you, really. I'm going to go over here now. You know, that sort of like,
Right.
It isn't like I've grown stronger and I know what I can, you know, do against you. It's like, I'm already here. I was already like at this point. So that's kind of like where they got a lot of their like attention from, because a lot of people were like really into the group and like kind of the dynamics. And especially at the time when they debuted, there were no groups really doing this, like especially like this. I mean, you had like groups like 21 around, but they weren't doing like this kind of female empowerment songs. They were kind of more of like, we're empowering the like looks and standards of society, you know, that sort of thing. So because they still had the 2 Chinese members, they did debut in China in 2011 and did some promotions there, but they didn't do a lot. They had a couple of comebacks, but a lot of their comebacks weren't on top of each other, and they spent a lot of time kind of inactive. And their last comeback was in March of 2015 with their Colors album, which had the Only You single on it. And that's when they like officially became super inactive and didn't do anything after that. Jia was the first member to leave in 2016 after her contract had expired. And then the group officially disbanded at the end of 2017. Even though they disbanded and hadn't been around for that long, they did end up with 2 studio albums, 3 EPs, 2 single albums, and then the special Chinese album with like 8 singles in total. They also had a fairly good run on some of their stuff. They were super successful, especially in music shows, but like specifically for their debut song did like really well, like extremely well.
Wasn't it the first girl group debut to hit number 1 on
Yes.
the Gaon chart.
So they reached number 1 on the Gaon digital chart, which is the first ever to have a debut song reach that. They are also the best performing single of that year. And then on Music Bank, they took first place, which was the fastest girl group to take a number 1 spot on a music show. And then they also, for Bad Girl Girl, it spent 4 weeks at number 1, which at that point, the only group that had done that was Girls' Generation. And so they took out Girls' Generation before that, or because of that.
And as a rookie group, that's like...
It's huge. It is like really huge, especially for a debut song. I mean, they really kind of just took it out of the park for that. And then most of their other songs did pretty well, and they did do a lot with like music shows, and they also won some other awards. In 2017, Billboard named them number 10 in their top 10 K-pop girl groups of the past decade. So yeah, they've won stuff on like Seoul Music Awards. They won Mnet Song of the Year, Best Dance for Bad Girl Girl, and Best New Female Artist. So they did rack up a good amount of stuff, even though they did kind of spend most of their time inactive. And I think that like just stemmed from, well, JYP, but like JYP not knowing or figuring out what they wanted to do with the group. And I think that just like it's a combination of probably what was happening behind scenes and structure wise, but also just purely when they debuted, they were kind of in a weird area. They were in between like big groups that you would see at JYP, especially with their like girl groups, because they're right in between Wonder Girls and Twice. They're also technically generationless because they're like the way that like things are structured. They were the biggest group to happen in this like little weird spot between 2nd gen and 3rd gen. I consider them 2nd gen just because they do a lot of 2nd gen type things, and like their like ties, especially with like their label mates were with like Wonder Girls and 2PM and stuff. So they were placed in a weird position that I just think no matter what, no one knew how to work this, especially when the first part of their like creation had an actual like really kind of zeroed in, route into figuring out how they were, they wanted to do the Chinese promotions, and that just kind of backfired. So I think that was part of the reason. Also, I do think that like Suji getting popular and becoming a really like a known actress, and she was like the CF queen for JYP, that probably hurt things in a way, not her fault, but like just because of trying to schedule all this stuff around what she was doing too. And I think it just got like messy. So they should have gone farther, but they were a product of a lot of things that kind of happened all at once. But they're still like fairly well known to this day. I mean, like I'm pretty sure every girl group that you've ever loved has done a cover of them. And every boy group has done a cover of their dances. You hear their songs all the time. So even though they didn't have like, a very long and super successful route, I think they're still successful. Just this like past year, Faye and Gio were on this Chinese variety show called Sisters Who Make Waves that was centered around like stars who were over 30, and constantly during that show MissA was brought up. They would do dances for MissA. So like there was still something, and even in China the like people were like really responding to them. So
well, and like this past week was International Women's Day, and like all of K-pop Twitter kept playing I Don't Need a Man, because that was the the K-pop anthem for International Women's Day. So people remember.
Yeah, they've got some really good songs, and they do have a good background. To talk briefly about the members, we have Faye, who's the main vocalist. She's one of the Chinese members of the group. She was scouted while she was going to her dance school, and that's how she got into JYP. And then she was part of that original group. She technically made her acting debut in 2011 with Dream High, but she was just a cameo in there, and so her first real like supporting position was on the web drama Swan, and then also she was in a couple of other C-dramas. I talked about Shall We Fall in Love like on the podcast like last year because I watched it, which I didn't particularly like it, but I liked her character and I think it has an audience, so that's an option if you're like listening to us and don't really like K-pop but you like drama. It's on Viki. She made her solo debut in 2016 with Fantasy, which is, fun fact, I was super, super excited about this single dropping because she's my bias. I love Faye, like love Faye. And so I was like super excited about this single. And I remember very clearly, I didn't wake up in time to watch it before work. And so I rushed around, got to work and watched it at work. And it's like one of the first times I actively did that with like an actual like K-pop group. I was like, I have to watch Faye debut because I love her voice and I wanted her to like have a solo so bad. So in 2019 she left JYPE officially and she signed with Hawaii Brothers to pursue her career in China, and she released a couple of solo singles and some, you know, duets and stuff, and she's been mostly doing model work there. Then we have Jia, who's the main rapper / lead dancer, vocalist, another Chinese member. She was recruited by JYP in 2007, I think on her way to her music school or something. They all had music and pre-dance background, so somehow.
Faye and Jia, were their schools in China? And
yes,
that's like where they recruited in China.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I really think that like JYP was like hardcore trying to focus in on the Chinese market because I'm pretty sure they, even outside of the 4 members that were in the original project group, they had more Chinese trainees. She officially made her acting debut in 2014. She was in the C-drama 1.5 Summer, which was actually the like drama that I was gonna pick if I didn't watch Shall We Fall in Love. Both have Nikun in it. Like, I've heard good things about it. If you're looking for a drama that she's in, or maybe you've possibly like actually watched her, she's also done some movies. She left in May of 2016 JYP, and she signed on to Banana Culture to pursue her music career. Just as a side note, Banana Culture is the same Banana Culture that EXID just left. They're the same company. They just have, they're mostly a Chinese company. So that's what she's doing. I think she's also doing model work too. So then we have Min, who, when I was like really looking into stuff for this episode, I didn't realize how popular Min was as a trainee, but she was hugely popular. I also think that she has like the most interesting background, and I've always thought she had the most interesting background, which is kind of sad because she's the one that you don't hear about doing stuff now. So she was always doing dance, and when she was 13, she and Hyoyeon from Girls' Generation knew each other, were friends, and they created a dance duo called Little Winners. And because of doing that, she auditioned for JYP in 6th grade and got in. She was maybe still, I don't know, the longest trainee at JYP. Basically, after a year of her training, JYP decided they wanted to send her to the US to train and to debut in the US as a soloist. So they sent her, did schooling at like a music school, but she was also in this like group, and I think they just had like a joint partnership of some sorts. It was with the rapper Little John. He had this like kind of like training group, and so it was like Little John's proteges, and you can find stuff online of her dancing. She actually did release like 3 singles. They're ridiculously hard to find, and I can't even like figure out if it's her or not.
So she was like in 8th grade when she was doing this?
Was like, she was there, I think, for like a good amount. Like, I think she was there for like 6 years, but like,
yeah, that's what I read.
She started really young at this like dance group because like her main background is dance. And you can see like the group is called like Little John's Proteges or something like that, and you can see her in clips doing dances. And then those songs, I can't find them, but they're also like, the titles of the songs are like the titles of major songs, so they're like even harder to find. Yeah.
And you've tried searching like even like Min or Lee Min Young and there's like 6 of them on Spotify, and you're like, I went into one and all the titles were in like Thai. I was like, no, that's not the right one.
They're definitely they are definitely in English, because that was her like main goal with JYP, is to debut in America. Like after that kind of like stint went away, she came back to Korea, and that's when she was put in MissA. It was pretty much she came back, put in MissA. She did do some acting work as well. She was in a couple of Korean films, Countdown and Suni, the Executioner's Daughter. And then in 2016, she got back with Hyoyeon and then also Jo Kwon, who we all know and love. And they formed Triple T and released a single called Born to Be Wild. And it's like part of like SM's, what is that called? Their like channel, their secondary channel. You know what I'm talking about? Like
SM Station?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was another joint thing because like JYP is also in the video too. And so it's like kind of like mostly heavily dance based group because of their ties. Like all 3 of them are really big dancers. She made her musical debut in 2017, and that's also the year that she left JYP. And she hasn't done much since. She is currently with K Tigers ENC, but not doing anything. I mean, like there could be a potential that she's actually choreography, like, you know, on choreographer, like as I don't know. She is listed as being under that label to be a talent though. So
what I wondered was, I had just noticed today that for Sunghoon's new drama, he sang an OST that's like a collaboration, a duet with a Lee Min Young, and I was like, is it men? Like I can't.
It might be. I
don't know. Like I mean, the picture is an OST picture, right? So it's from the drama, and it's with his like drama wife or drama mistress. I don't know. I'm not watching that drama right now, but you know, like it's a picture of him. I'm assuming like it's like a drama still, right? So I'm like, that doesn't look like men, but like it's probably the actress he's acting with. So I don't.
Yeah, she's also got that like name that's like it's pretty popular, so it's like
a lot of
like imagine how many Lee Min Youngs there are in South Korea.
yeah, definitely. And she is like good friends with a lot of people, and I like would see her randomly. Like she was good friends with Amber, so like see her pop up all the time in Amber's videos like nonstop, and they would do kind of like parody stuff. I think out of everyone, she probably was maybe the most fed up with JYP. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I think like she was like done with that life, because you know she did a lot of stuff. Like she went over to America at such a young age and then learned English and like did all that stuff, you know, by herself. And I can't imagine that. And I mean, she has such a great background. Maybe she's gonna show up here sometime. And then last in the group, we have Suji, who is the lead vocalist and visual. A lot of people know about Suji, but if you don't know about Suji, which is very possible, before she started in JYP, she was actually an online shopping model. And then in 2009, when she was very, 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 very young, like 14, she auditioned for Mnet Superstar K. And while she got through like the audition process, she was kind of eliminated early on. And that's when a JYP rep saw her and scouted her for JYP, and then within like 6 months she was in MissA. So it went very fast, very thing. There are some things that like she had some issues with, like even though Bad Girl Good Girl did really well, the girls didn't actually like the song and didn't like the choreo because it was like super sexy, and Faye and Gia are quite a bit older than Suji, and so like it was like they were in the like age range. They were not comfortable with her doing the stuff, and she was not comfortable, but they had to do it, like kind of thing, because they were a group that was nobodies that like were trying to debut. So she did have some like issues in the very beginning, especially because she was so young. She was like 15 when she started. I can't imagine doing this stuff at 15. And like being, especially with like Suji, who like then like catapulted into stardom. She's never really had like, you know, a childhood that's not in the, you know, spotlight. So her official acting debut is in 2011 with Dream High. She's been in. I talked about Dream High too. It's not my favorite, but it is like a cult classic. Like, I still see people, like, that's how they got into a lot of groups. It's filled with JYP groups and people, and a lot of people, like, it was their first introduction to a lot of these things, also introduction into dramas. It's like a high school drama about a performing arts high school, so I can understand the, like, real love and nostalgia of it, especially if you were that, like, age when watching it. So it's around. You can watch it if you want. I will say that her character actually, like, I really liked her progression in the show, and she stars opposite IU in most of her stuff, and their relationship is surprisingly a great female relationship in a drama, and you would never actually expect it to go that way watching the show. So there were parts in it that I was like, okay, this is, like, cheesy, but I get the love for it, you know? But she's been in a bunch of other things. Goo Family Book, While You Were Sleeping, Vagabond, which we have an episode where we talked about the first 2 episodes, and then she was just recently in Startup. She was the CF Queen. She was a lot of the reason why, like, JYP Entertainment was able to do what they could do. She brought in a lot of money for the company. When I was looking up stuff, I thought this was, like, super interesting. She is the first Korean female celebrity to win a Singer Rookie Award, Drama Rookie Award, Film Rookie Award, and Variety Rookie Award.
Oh.
Wow. Good girl.
Back to back to back to back to back. She also debuted as a soloist in 2017 with her album Yes, No. And then she officially left JYP in March of 2019 and is now signed with Management Soup, which is the Gongyu acting.
Good for her.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, she's not doing, like, music stuff. Like, she just did a fan event where she did a little mini concert, but I think that was more because it was a fan event. She hasn't, like, produced any solos or anything like that, and I would feel that she might be, like, just focusing more on her acting side than she is, especially with the management company that she's under. But that is MissA in a very, very condensed way, even though I feel like I've been talking a lot about them. This very condensed. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, but that's the general overview. So now let's talk about, like, fun stuff. Like, how did everyone first encounter MissA? Because, like, my encounter literally was because of 2 p.m. I know that wasn't the, like, route that everyone else went by, you know?
Yeah, mine was Dream High. Embarrassing but true, but that was also my intro to 2 p.m, so
there you go.
Here we go. I like both of them better than Dream High. Let's just say that. I'm in, like, a weird thing with MissA, because I like them. Like, I like them, and they're all very talented. But I feel like, because I know how young, especially Suji was, and watching it, I feel a little uncomfortable. Like there was one video. It's like, it starts with a peeping Tom.
Oh, that's Only You. Like, it's their last single.
Yeah, like, looking through the window at them all, like, in their underwear and stuff, and I'm like, this is uncomfortable for me. But, like, it
definitely was a thing. Like, I remember when it came out that, like, I was, like, taken aback, but the song's, like, so good. But, like, you're also like, but there was some talk around how, like, they were really not okay. Like, a lot of people were not okay with, like, the stalking, and yeah,
and it's just like, and it was treated as, like, oh, flirty fun, and I just was like, ooh, and the other one, I think that they're great, okay, but Jessie had put a bunch of links to stuff that they were in the doc that she shared with us, and I was watching one episode of Happy Together. Why did they do that to them? Why did they bring that fanboy in? Like, that was everyone
so awkward.
I know.
To set up the episode.
But at least I will preface, the fanboys that
they were fun.
They were respectful. Like, they weren't creepy. There was not creepy.
But it was still weird. So
it was weird.
They all, like, show up. So they have Susie and Faye, and then they have Inji from A-Pink and Mina from Girls' Day. And which I'm just like, okay, like, when you see that lineup, you're like, oh, okay, I see who the, like knowing what I know now in the future, like these were the girls that the agency wanted to make big.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. But anyway, so they're all in this sauna, as it used to be on Happy Together. That was, like, the vibe. And then they bring in, like, these middle-aged male fans of the group. Except they didn't bring in one for Faye, which I thought was, like, rude, first off. So, and then they're just talking about how much they love the groups and the girls, and then the girls are, like, sitting there, like, smiling and being like, oh, yeah, I recognize you from the fans. But, like, you can feel the discomfort in their souls.
Yeah,
and I'm
like, we're sitting here in, I mean, I'm sure they're fully dressed under their robes and everything.
For
but
sure,
still,
for sure.
like, it's a weird setting to begin with. And then you have, like, fanboys thrust upon you when you were not expecting that.
You could tell they were surprised.
Weird.
Yeah. And then I'm just like, you can tell that there was not a woman on this writing team.
Oh,
Because
for
if
sure,
there had
yeah.
been, they'd have been like,
that episode starts
18
out with
years
the
old.
like
no.
hosts saying, oh, you know, we've had a female PD for years and years and we could never get the female guests on, but now as soon as we have a male PD we get the girl guests. Isn't this great? And you're like, yeah, because like the female PD was like shooting down all this crap and saying, no, we're not doing this.
It's really hard, especially when you're like focusing in on those like variety shows and just like the music videos in general with like those like second gen and like even like the start of third gen groups. You kind of really see how toxic everything is and how misogynistic the society is. And it's like surprising. Yeah, it does make you sad. And like just idol culture and alone and the like need to have fan service. And like, so that was like what was expected of them. Like they didn't have any other. And like, honestly, the reason why like there's no one there for Faye is because she was like subject to racist insults like most of her time because she's a Chinese member in a Korean girl group. Like,
And it was just, and it's seeing this, and it's like, you know, and they're all very talented, and they're all very beautiful, and, like, their songs are good and everything, but then I just, like, see it through this, like, lens of, like, knowing what I know now, and it's, like, it's hard to sort of watch it, because, like, it feels a little creepy, like, when you watch, you know, Good Girl, Bad Girl, and you know that she's 15, and you know that, like, JYP has, like, a reputation now of having been creepy towards her, and you're just like...
I mean, I will say, like, in I'm Bad Girl, and Only You, she was, like, at the time, what, like, 20, 21?
Yeah.
Definitely, they're, like, with the group for about 7 years, so...
Yeah.
Doesn't make it right, but I just want to, like, in your head, if like, that helps you, like, sleep well at night.
Like, like, it's like she, you know, for most of them, she is an adult. It's just like in the early ones. But it's like, and then, you know, like, there's even, you know, you hear, you know, even stories of, like, when GOT7's on, variety shows, like, joking about how JYP's mean to all, like, the male trainees, but is always, like, really sweet and flirty to all the girls, and then you're just like, I don't like this dude's vibe, and you're just like, and you see how he, like, inserts himself into all of their work, and so, like, that little JYP at the beginning becomes more sinister, and it's like, I want to enjoy it so bad, but my brain knows too much.
I think for me, like, I didn't really start getting into K-pop until pretty much they'd already disbanded or were in the process of, like, it was late 2016 when I started, and I started kind of slow getting into K-pop. So, yeah, like, I know a few of before this, I knew a few of the big songs, right? Like, because they do show up in stuff and people, you know, are on Twitter or retweeting them and stuff. So I appreciated sort of getting to know all the members better, because before this it was Susie, right? I watched, what was it, While You Were Sleeping, and I loved it, and it was great, and she was great, and she sang an OST in it, and it's a great little song, and I, you know, okay, cool. But like, I didn't track down the group really because it was already gone, so I just didn't pursue that excessively. But I did start watching that Sisters Who Make Waves, and I'm enjoying that. I dig it, and I dig the whole vibe of it, and the sets are really cool looking.
Yeah, I really like it. I wish I knew more Chinese celebrities, because that aspect is really lost, because there's a lot of like nostalgia tied to people who are watching it because they are like beloved celebrities. So like that part I don't get,
and they
but
don't
like it was a lot of fun when I watched.
Put their names up like in English really big, or anything. So there's definitely an assumption that you know who you're looking at most of the time, and most of the time I don't. So I'm like, I don't, okay. I mean, like the one girl, even that's with it. They're like, so introduce yourself. She's like, after 15 years in this business, if I have to introduce myself, I've been doing something wrong. And you're like,
no, please, I want to know who you are. Let me
love you.
I want you to introduce yourself to me.
But yeah, like I like all of them. When I'm watching the videos, like I'm always drawn to Min. Like I'm always watching Min, and then I like Gia's rap bits, and I like Faye's voice, and I like them all. I mean, but yeah, mostly I know them from a few key hits and Susie acting and stuff. So
I feel like I have seen clips of music award shows, or like end of year shows where they would, there's a lot of covers going on and stuff, and I feel like I've definitely seen a lot of Goodbye Baby covers. And that's really the song that I can think back, but like that's the one that I knew about the longest. I hadn't watched any of their music videos before researching this. I don't think I had seen clips of people, doing covers, dances. Or I had seen 2 p.m. being funny about Breathe. Like I had seen parts of things before, but I had never went and watched all the music videos. I got a really big kick out of their first mini album. Was amazing. Like it was just really good.
Yeah.
Everything was so good. It was. And it's a shame that they, time-wise or generation-wise or any of that, it just seems like they didn't know what to do with them other than have Susie do every single CF on the face of the planet, which that's great and all, but like, they were such a good group right out of the gate.
Yeah.
They feel like a group that was mismanaged, like...
Yeah,
definitely.
And their downfall was not them.
Yeah, it was mismanaged. JYPE. And like more of a mismanagement and placement of like the grand
timing wise.
Yeah, because I mean they do have, like, when you hear about like their background, all of them had such strong musical and dance backgrounds that there's like no way that wouldn't be a solid group. And like for me, I first knew about them because of 2 p.m. because they were like the little sisters of 2 p.m. and so you saw them a lot like doing things, or if they're like joking around, they would be the two groups joking around with each other like the most that I would see. With MissA is one of the groups that I fell in love with their songs before anything else, to the point where they could just not have any sort of personality and I'd be like, I'm still here for their songs, like I'm still like a fan. But they do have personality. They're really great, and I think that they are a good group together in a different way than a lot of other groups because they're a little bit more level-headed, and I don't know if it's because they were kind of forced very quickly to do all this stuff, and then there were like kind of older like members who could help the younger members, and then also like being, Chinese and Korean, and like they're all like trying to figure out everything together, but they seemed like they got along well, but it was never forced family time, and it's not even like you thought that they were like the bestest friends in the entire world. You just felt like they respected each other and worked well together as a musical act. And like I thought that was like a really cool vibe that they had. And just like they just fit really well, and like especially with like such a low number of members, which is like a unheard of number, really in the grand scheme of girl groups. I think that needed to help. Like it worked really well for the 4 of them.
Was Faye the leader? I forgot to look into.
I haven't even looked into it too. Yeah.
For some reason, I thought I guess because of her her being older, and I don't know, she just kind of had the presence, and she was like
Yeah, she
there with
had
Susie.
to- Yeah, like that's something I actually
Susie
didn't like look
definitely
up
wasn't the
either.
leader.
Susie
Right,
definitely
it
wanted to
wasn't
be,
Susie.
but yeah, I would think so. Also because they didn't do a lot of variety show work, especially together, and the two who did the most variety work was Sushi and Faye. So I would assume that like Faye would have been the leader, but I actually don't know that off the top of my head.
Huh.
Maybe they didn't have one.
It says, actually, there was no official leader of MissA. Sometimes it seems like Gia, sometimes it seems like Faye.
Yeah, so yeah, they just went the 2 p.m. route, I guess.
Which, that's also interesting, you know, the Chinese members being the leader. Like, that's interesting.
I could see that, especially because
they've been around the longest.
Yeah, and then also when they did the Chinese promotions, the Chinese members had to like basically take over, and they became like the translators. They were the ones to like, you know, show how to work in China in terms of like, you know, being, you know, doing the things that they were doing and like that sort of thing. So I think it was like very fluid, and they did have like a really good group coming with like, you know, they had the Chinese members, they had the Korean members, but then also you had Min who was fluent in English too. And so they really had this really great like kind of global reach, because like Min would be able to lead English interviews all the time too, because she's like pretty fluent in it. So they had like this really good setup, which is like kind of the most disappointing thing. And especially now when you see how they're still so beloved, even though they're air quotes older, you know, it's like you're like, oh, this could have been so much more. And with such solid like songs to back up, because like all of their songs are like, I personally think all of their songs are at the same levels as all of their title tracks. You know, all their B-sides are so good.
It's not like the B-sides felt like an afterthought, because there are some albums out there in K-pop that's just the way it is.
Where you listen to a B-side and you're like, this is why this is on the B-side.
Or, you know, it was like the experimental phase, and you're like, sometimes you just want the same vibe for the entire album, and you get that with like MissA. You get a full album where you're like, I am in this R&B like realm, and like sometimes like they'll throw in some like dancey stuff, but it's like integrated in, but like for the most part you're just like really chill, great vocals. You're just like, it's good to have on all the time on repeat.
Oh, I was gonna say, and not to get deep into the negativity of the stuff with the variety shows stuff again, but like there was another Happy Together episode with Faye and Tech, and it was a fine episode, but out of the gate, they had to make a joke about how she wasn't Susie. Like, Susie couldn't come, so Faye was there.
Yeah.
That was
and
rude.
you could tell, like, you could tell on her face, like, I hear this all the time and it's not funny.
Yeah.
Like,
it's really hard, because I'm also a big fan of 4 Minute too. And that happened a lot with 4 Minute with Hyuna. And, like, you know, like, there's a Happy Together with Hyuna and someone else. And literally the setup is the one most popular member and the one who's not like the most popular like member, and you're like, I hate it so much. And you could tell that like they're just being forced. Yeah, because like it's not like Suji was like, she's never like, at least we don't know. I mean, obviously we don't know, but like she's never came across as someone who like seems vindictive or like mean or like anything. And like she just was thrown into this so fast, and she just, you know, she hit the like jackpot on like being the one that like the public really got into.
It girl.
And so and so she like, it's not her fault that all this happened to her. Really hard when she would be put into situations where she had to, and then like the other members also had to do that too, you know, where they were like put in positions where they were like, yep, you're not Suji, and you're like, the 4 of them make up the group. Like,
well, and even the premise of the Happy Together that Faye was on with Tech and stuff was people that had at least lived outside of Korea.
Yeah, they were like international.
From a foreign country or something. And it's like, Susie wouldn't be there. Like, the entire premise of this episode.
I know. It's hard. Like, it's a good, like, general episode. I really, like, thought, like, that's one of,
it's a cute
my favorite
episode.
ones, because they also have, like, John Park, who was the
Sam
kid
Hamilton,
who was, he auditioned for American Idol. But yeah, so like it had like this kind of fun thing, and Faye, has a really great personality, and she just like vibes really well with a lot of people, and I think she vibes really well with Tech. There are a couple of episodes of Running Man where she's on, and she's like not the most outgoing in terms of like all the other people on them, but like there's one episode where she's like paired up with Kwang Soo. It's like one of the funniest ones, because she like will just she just doesn't care too. She like will take over the like situation if she needs to, and she's got like a really great personality that like vibes with it. So it's like one of those things you're like, but she's right there and really great, and she's got she's talented, and she's here, and she knows Korean even though she's Chinese. Like,
and she's drop dead gorgeous.
I know,
like,
gorgeous.
Yeah.
As far as the public, it's like she's like Miss Universe level pretty. Like,
no, she
no.
She still looks the same now. Like,
but it's like,
what are you drinking? What's happening?
For some reason, racism against Chinese people needed to be a thing in Korea.
Racism and then misogyny mixed in, and
put the two together.
Yeah,
I did like. I was reading some of the just articles and things that had come out when the what is it, Sisters Wave,
Who Make Waves.
There we go. And that I guess there was a lot of like online talk about how like Faye and Gia were so fake, and that you could tell they weren't really friends and stuff. And they were like, shut up. We're friends. I don't even know what to, but I was like, did you guys watch the same episode I watched? Because that very first episode, they like enter the room from like opposite, and as soon as they see each other, they're like, ah! And they're like, like jumping on top of each other. It's like, they're not like really actresses, they're singers and dancers. Like that. Yeah. That's how to fake.
They don't have to be best friends to still be in a same room together and appreciate and respect each other too. Like
it's like, are you best friends with your coworkers?
No, but also, are you best friends with your coworkers? No, but if you're thrown into a room of 30 strangers, is that the one you're going to hang out with? Yeah, because you know her. Like,
you're going to grab that coworker's hand and be like, hey, bestie.
Yeah.
We doing it.
And that doesn't make it fake. That makes it, like, normal. Like, normal people.
Normal relationships you're seeing. I'm sorry that, like, is a shock to you, but maybe that's the thing that you need to address with yourself and a therapist.
And, like, groups don't need to be quote-unquote family or intimate friends.
That's not how they were picked together. Like, Jesus, she wasn't even supposed to be in this group. She was in another group. And then she was like, well, last one standing, so okay.
Like, when I was a teen, I was in a band, and we recorded an album. We weren't best friends. We were friendly. I had other best friends. They were just my band that I made an album with. Like, come on. I just need to talk about this before it leaves my brain again. Can we talk about the absurdity that was the classic music video? Because
the classic music video, which
the music video,
it was the Reebok. It was obviously Reebok sponsored.
Oh,
the one that was
Wu Young.
That was very clearly.
I was thinking like main
off
titles.
Of Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, I got a huge kick out of it. I thought it was fun.
As soon as why Chan suck? Why they gotta play him dirty like that? Why they gotta play him dirty like that? That was just mean.
And JYPE, let's be real with this one. JYPE really didn't need to be there.
No, he was just
being
the uncle of that music video.
He never looks young. He never looks, and then they like hardly ever put him in like. He's in Dream High too, just as an FYI. But like, at least he's like dumb and stupid, and obviously the like older like teacher in the situation. Like always in the like music videos, he's just like creepily there, and it's like, but like nobody's here for this video. Like I understand, I can see past everything, and I can understand how JYP still has a career because he's very, very popular to like the actual Koreans, like older Koreans. I get that. Like I understand that.
But why
But
is
this
he here?
song, not for him. That's not the audience.
And
not
the
nobody
other thing,
cares.
the other thing that I love is that if they're so it's very clearly riffing off the Leonardo DiCaprio Claire Danes film Romeo plus Juliet. So he was playing Susie's father. Creepy. Like, dude, make it more obvious.
I just
why Chansung? Why?
And then I didn't understand what I didn't understand about it actually was, you know, there was the plot that they were watching on the screen, but then like they were in the movie theater too, and that's the part that I was confused about.
Listen, it was a poorly thought out idea that.
But Reebok really liked those earrings and the outfits.
Oh my god! Just when they went into that like dollar store masquerade scene, and then like I just see Chansung all nerded up being
so
handed Susie as like his bride against her. I was like, no, they're not doing this to him.
They always do it to him. What are you talking about?
Always, I know, but I was just like, no.
When you first started this, I thought you were talking about the Love Alone. I think that's what it's called. Single. It's like one of their like it's like their second or third single, and I was so confused, and I was like, yeah, it's got kind of like a cheesy. Like, you know, music video because it's just like concert clips, but it's like it was for the like figure skater. So like, what are you talking about? Like in my head, that's what I was like thinking about, and I was like, what are you talking about? And then
I got a kick also out of.
Then you arrived.
I was like, oh yes.
I forgot what it was called, but it was like a really long CF where they were all spies.
Yes.
So fun. I wanted to watch more. It's like, give me more MissA 2 p.m. spies. I will watch it all.
Yeah, I literally just gave them like a massive playlist of 2 p.m. and like MissA that I could find. It's the Crossfire CF.
And there's a big chunk where a dude's speaking, I think it was German. It's like, was this I couldn't tell. It's like, is this a German commercial? Like, I also don't know what we were selling. I'm not sure, but it was fun.
I love the CFs that they do, especially back then. There are some CFs. I don't think I put any of it in any of the clips that I gave you because it's only Sushi who did it, but it's Sushi and 2 p.m. They did a CF for what was it? It's one of the water parks. Like water theme parks.
Oh yeah.
And they do like a
world or whatever.
Yeah, but they do a haunted kind of like how Universal Studios does, where the Nights of Terror type thing. They do that for that arcade, and so the spokesperson, the people were 2 p.m. and Sushi, and so there's all these random videos, and now. This is the plight of a second gen person when you're watching these things. They're all in 240p and backwards and in 13 parts, but they're so funny because it's just all of them just yelling.
Occasionally
at,
they'll be just one. They'll just be one little corner of the screen with something else on the side.
Oh my gosh, I cannot begin to describe you my life when I would be watching Double S 501 did that baby show. You know, that I think Shiny's done it too, and Shinhwa did it where they take care of a kid. That's a thing. And oh my gosh, when you would have to figure out where the parts were, because also when they people first put those stuff on YouTube, they also were trying to get it not taken down, so it's spelled in the weirdest way imaginable. It would be baby would be spelled 1-3 at symbol B-I-E-L-C. You're what is going on? And that's literally my life when I try to find the old stuff that I remember for 2 p.m. stuff, and then some of this MissA stuff. It's that too. They just have a little bit less of a presence on YouTube. MissA does, which is sad, but these episodes specifically, when we do something that like it's from like a second gen group and I have to go back, I'm like, I remember these days fondly.
Also, it's kind of one of those things that you've probably had playlists as the years have gone on, but then things will disappear.
Yeah, no, it'll be like restricted in your country.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was so obsessed with Starbell. It's a bunch of different groups and like just different members, and they're all like in kind of like just seating that's like risers, and it's also like other people like actresses and stuff. And like Seunggi is on it. Yeah, he's on it, and so did Dongwook was always like doing stuff with it. Those were so funny because again, the Star Belt, they were like the most targeted to like being taken down. So the massive amounts of people, like people would even like put in things or like, do not mention the name of this in the comments, it will take down. And so like you'd be going along and you'd be watching in like 8-minute chunks because not only was it in parts to cut down on like being taken down, it was also in parts because kids back then, YouTube did not allow you to post anything longer than like 10 minutes for like the longest time. And then even that you had to be part of the creator fund. Like it was like a big thing.
Yeah.
So you'd like be going through and you're like, you get to like part 6 and then you don't have part 7.
Yes!
There you're like,
it's always the worst!
And it's always
the worst.
It's always in the middle of an actual like something that they were doing.
Important part.
Yeah, it would be like an important like story like that like people because it was mostly like fun stuff, but like what I remember first about Super Junior, my first instance with them was literally they were telling the story about their first car accident, and it was like a very very like heavy like story. But like it would be those types of stories cut in half, and then you don't have like the other half, and you're like, but you'll never have that other half.
There
and you're and you're
just like, all right, which of you fuckers narked and said the name in the comments? Who was it? Who didn't use the code?
Or you find it, but it's the Viet sub, and you're like,
not helpful.
Kids these days, you guys have it so good.
So easy.
Isn't it like they on like Drama Fever too now? Like, or they used to be on like Vicky. Yeah, no, I didn't have that luxury when I first started.
Like, let me tell you guys something. Now the companies are putting that up there with subs themselves. We did not have that luxury back in the day.
No. I'm sorry. This was a very long tangent about like me being old, but like. MissA.
It means we need to appreciate what we do have of MissA.
That's right.
Because there would be more content if we could have it.
That's true.
It definitely feels like they were like ahead of their time. Like if they were released now, I feel like they would like just be solid. Like they would be popular because that whole vibe that they had and the international aspect and the everything like that's going big right now. That's a huge thing. So
I do think so too. They did have a reality show that's akin to the 2PM's little reality show called Real MissA. If you're looking for that, it is a subbed little like reality show, and it kind of follows mostly the creation of the Only You music video, but they also do some like other things where like the members will go off and do something, or you know, they're going to a radio show thing, and so it'll be like following them. So like that's an actual thing that's like put out by JYPE. That's like a don't have to worry about not finding parts issue.
It's all there.
I was laughing today. I was watching that like the first episode of the sisters, and just it gets to the like their first performance stages, and the first 3 people sing their songs and do their whole thing, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then the 4th person, I was like, wait, did I skip something? Did I miss something? Because she lifts her microphone, she goes to sing, and then she takes her bow, and they're like, that was a wonderful musical range. And I was like, I'm sorry, rewound, and nope, it's just gone. And then like every singer after that, there's no song there. They stand up, the spotlight happens, and it's cut. Oh, and I'm like,
you know what that's like?
Didn't have like the broadcast rights, or they, they're trying not to get like. I'm just like,
that's like when you're watching Men on a Mission
On
on
Netflix.
Netflix.
Oh
And
god,
they get up to
the
dance,
worst.
and it'll just be like generic techno music, and you're like, oh
It's
no,
like-
no, no.
royalty
No.
free from your Mac. Like
Yeah, like it's
circa
not good.
20, like
The thing is, I
2018,
always
like, it's-
forget. So I will be like amped to watch them
you're like,
perform.
yes, EXO, let's
this
go,
song.
and then
Yeah.
you're like,
No, but okay. I
where's it?
hadn't really watched it before, and then it was the Coco Bob comeback for EXO, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna go watch that, because like I love EXO, and then I'll like, and I'll get to watch their perform it, and then it's like they were dancing to like I was like, no.
They don't even try to match up the beats per minute.
No.
So it's like
They
them
did me
dancing,
so dirty.
and it's like
They did
so
me
off. and
so
you're like,
dirty.
Netflix,
no.
just no.
Just
We were
no.
done. We were
Done.
done so dirty, ladies. Like Netflix, we know you have the money. We know you do.
This is actually like vital. If the like group that's actually performing can't perform their song,
Right?
you're
Like-
doing the wrong thing, Netflix. So, like favorite songs, either like favorite title or favorite B-side or whatever. Do you guys have one?
Hmm.
I mean, you could say all. I mean,
Well, they're all
That would be
they're all-
okay with you, right?
duh.
They're all great, but
I
I
think I like
actually
one
I
that,
know
like,
I'm gonna
Connected
come
with
out-
you.
I'm gonna come out as being real basic right now because I just love Goodbye Baby. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's a
Yeah.
solid
It's so
solid
good.
song.
It's so
I
good.
really like it.
I know.
Like-
I'm like, which ones do I like that we haven't mentioned yet? Like, that's
like-
I'm like, because yeah,
Like,
I'm
they're,
basic
they're
too.
all
It's like
solid.
Goodbye Baby and, I Don't Need a Man. Like,
Yeah.
I
But
like.
it's like they're popular for a reason, right?
Mhm.
Like,
I liked the song "I Caught Ya."
Mhm.
I just some of their songs have some some guitar going on. I was like, yes.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
kind of do that like rock thing. 2PM also does that too, but it's like mostly in their concert stuff, and I'm always like, come on, JYP, just let them do rock. It'd be so good.
Just do it.
I don't love the song. Like, the song, it's not bad, but it's not one of my favorites. But I love the start of it. Is I'm gonna mispronounce this. I apologize. It's in Hangul, so it's Myunghani. But it's like the opening swell of it has such like, I don't know, like it just sounds like a musical or like something like a sweeping soundtrack from an old like a 50s musical movie. And I just, every time it starts, I'm like, I picture curtains falling and like the whole thing. Like it just, I dig that opening bit, and then I'm like, and then the rest of the song's fine, but it's like just that opening bit really gets me every time.
For me, like, I remember very clearly when I first saw Breathe, and I was like, oh, I'm like into this song. But like Breathe like really caught me. I was like, this is like really interesting and fun, and I think the like music videos are really like fun, especially because it is a box set, but like it has this very like retro mod vibe to it, and it's very catchy.
Breathe is the one that gets caught in my head.
Yeah,
a
it's
lot.
definitely one that like you're just like, no, never talk on my neck, kiss me. But I am a sucker for love song. Love song so
yes.
much. It's so good. And it's one of the
so
ones
good.
they did as like a secondary like push on the music shows, so you can actually see some of the stages for that. It's really good. Also like Melting is another one that's really great. One of the B-sides, Mr. Johnny.
Mr. Johnny, I love Mr. Johnny.
Yeah, and like Lips.
I really
Solid
love the
B-sides.
song Hide and Sick. It has a vibe, man. It has a vibe. It passes my vibe check.
I really like Mama I'm Good. That
I also really enjoyed Faye and Gia's solo
Yeah.
music videos and stuff. Like, so good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
good.
And also, if you like Jackson, he does stuff with both of them, obviously.
Yeah.
Chinese JYP people always coming together, but like, if you're like into that, I do one of the, oh gosh, why can't I think of anything off the top of my head. It's the like one of the first ones she did under Banana Culture that Gia did.
Drip?
No, that one's fake.
No,
Who's that?
I'll think about it. Yeah, who's that girl? That one, I really
plot.
loved it. It's a very simple song, and it's actually kind of like a pretty standard song, but I just thought it was like such a really great song in contrast to what she did on MissA, because she was the rapper, which I also found fascinating that they gave the Chinese member the rap position, and she seemed to be doing fine with it, you know? But it was just like such a different like concept, and it like showed off her vocals a little more, and like just kind of the emotion involved with this song. So it was like really interesting to watch that. Like when it premiered, I was like, oh, this is like different, and I like that it's different, because it just like was able to like show you a different vibe that she hadn't, that wasn't what she was doing. It was like part of MissA.
Right.
I find like you see that a lot. It's like when these group members get to go do their like solo stuff, it's like they're finally free to do what they were supposed to be doing, you know, like, because it's sometimes so vastly different from what they're performing in the group, and you're like, oh, this is what you actually wanted to do.
I'm gonna admit that that's something that's always perplexed me about a lot of K-pop groups, and people having roles and stuff, that doesn't bug me, but if there are rappers that are actually strong vocalists too, why every once in a while for a B-side, give them freedom and let them sing? Like,
especially because not every song needs a rap line, but every song gets a rap because otherwise the fans will go rabid that, you know, there wasn't enough line equality. So if they have strong vocals, let them sing vocals. Like, just if you know, if they got strong vocals, and you don't need it, like, not every song needs to have a rap in it. Like, it's just a reality. They don't. So if you've got a great song that doesn't need a rap and a rapper who has strong vocals, you can make that work and just go with it. Like,
I've never understood the like constant need to force people into vocal positions that they aren't, because it's bad. It just, you can tell they do poorly. Like, not everybody's a soprano. Yes, there's a lot of sopranos, but like it doesn't make sense in my head with the amount of people who are auditioning that you can't just already find someone with that quality already. Like, you should have like hundreds of options, and you don't have to force someone to train to do this thing, because it also just damages their voice. Like, as me, like, listening to it, I can actually hear what they're doing to like fry their voice, and it's stuff that like they're gonna have to do multiple surgeries later on. The like fallback is ruining your voice entirely, even speaking wise, and it's just like it's so hard listening to that, and you do kind of like start to see the difference when they finally break free from like their main company and then start to do solo work, and you kind of like find their true register, and it just like sounds better. It's like a sabotage that doesn't need to be there. And I'm not saying that, like, I think MissA like does pretty well, and I think they do like actually focus on their vocals a lot. I think that's why you get the songs that they do have from them, because very vocally driven, and they're not like trying to do like, there's some stuff that they do, but like it's not super crazy. But it's just like you see some of these like groups and you're like, why
are you doing this?
We always do these on these like music like episodes where we like
it always
just
devolves
stray into like this like, we want the music like people to do better because we feel as like older sisters to these girls that they deserve better.
They do deserve better, because they don't need to have their voices ruined. They don't need to be pigeonholed into roles that don't fit them.
They don't have to like perform acts of services to creepy old men, or just creepy men in general.
Do not make, and even if someone is quote unquote of age, even if they're 18, if they're not comfortable doing a creepy fan service thing, don't make them do it.
Don't make them do it. It's not that hard.
It makes me curious, since I haven't very, very closely followed a ton of girl groups, like through watching fan sign clips and, you know, like deep fandom stuff. I haven't seen a lot of those obvious pitfalls for the girl groups, but I can only imagine because I've seen it boy group side, and they just have a buffer by naturally being dudes quite often.
Yeah.
Like it's just a thing. And so I can only imagine how quickly it could get for girls.
I've seen more than one drama about female trainees that either completely talked about it out in the open or hinted at the fact that these trainees and stuff were being forced into prostitution and stuff. I've seen it too many times for that to be coming out of completely nowhere, right?
Oh,
like,
they're like,
there's
even at
just
the, like,
stuff going on that's like,
even at the like the nicest, it would be that they were arm candy at like some fancy dinner that had a lot of shareholders to the company, and they're just kind of using that.
It's
and
like,
you know, like, not to say like that happens to everyone. There's obviously good like companies and bad companies. It's really creepy, and it really needs to be addressed.
It's really
and
creepy.
stopped.
They gotta stop this.
And it's one of those things like you're hard because you like. I think we talked about this maybe last week, where I really liked the girl group Stellar. And if you know anything about their background, it's heartbreaking, and the things that they had to do, and then, like the things that they were forced to do because the company wanted them to be more popular. And it's like really hard because you like love the group and you love the songs that they produce, but you can't in conscious listen to them because you know that like background of what happened. And it's just like hard when you have these groups and you know that like sometimes this could be happening and sometimes it can't, like may not be, and you don't know. And it's kind of just like you're hoping for the best when you're listening to it, but it's also always present.
I know.
It's
like
ugh.
I even think about that, like really simple things like currently for ATs, like certain outfits and stuff. I always wonder, like, are they actually comfortable in that? If they are, cool.
And sure,
If they're not, I'm not I'm not okay with it if they're not comfortable in it. Especially if that person a few months prior did talk about feeling exposed and not being comfortable. It makes you wonder, like, are they okay now? Like, and so then you wonder about something that simple.
And we always talk about these groups as, you know, they're adults and they can make choices, which isn't always true. But like, did you guys see about that new girl group that's debuting called Cookie, and the average age is 13?
No.
Know that.
And
they're
the
like
two youngest ones,
No.
like it's like one picture, and like the two cute youngest ones on the front look very cute and like just look like kids doing their thing. But the two girls in the middle are already being posed with the back arch and the, you know, and I was like, no, like they're in short skirts with their backs arched, and I'm like,
haven't developed, so they like.
I'm like, just I want, you know, like Korea should be able to have like cute kids groups, like we had, you know, we had Mbop, and you know, like we had this fun stuff. But I don't trust them. I don't trust the industry to let them be cute kids. So, just you know, if we had problems with Susie at 15, and now you got an average age of 13, come on now.
Well, and also the reality is, like, if we want to talk about trainee ages, so like, you know, you can, you know, MissA, so Susie debuting at 15. And she hadn't been a trainee for all that long. But if you think about the people that are trainees for years, like, they start at 12, 13, 14.
Let these kids go to school. Jesus. Like,
it is really,
it ain't right.
And 13,
13? No.
I don't mean to talk about this on the MissA podcast episode.
Because this appears to affect, you know,
as always, we have gone on one of our... We have gone on one of our magical tangents that we love to.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that, like, I mean, like, MissA could have had, like, the best option for themselves, too, and just in general. And, like, yes, they, you know, Susie was uncomfortable, so that, like, it shouldn't have happened no matter what. But, like, in, like, terms of, like, grand scheme of things, like, it was probably, like, just a lot better of a situation than most. And like, you know, it doesn't mean that like everything was like bad about the whole
Yeah.
creation of their group or anything like that. And also it means you should be listening to them all the time because they're so good.
And it's good to also be grateful, like, for instance, Faye and G, like, having older members that cared and did care about how people felt about things. So that's always a good thing.
Because, I mean, if they'd all been 15-year-olds, there wouldn't have been anybody to
try to help.
Up or to...
Was 8 years older than her, I think.
Like, that's quite
there's quite a age gap, and I think that, you know, it probably really did help, like, having like essentially an older sister.
Because, you know, abuses in the entertainment system might be bad, but you know what isn't? MissA's discography, which is why you should go and check it out. It's all on Spotify. You can do, you know...
Please do for my birthday. This is what I ask of you. Birthday present.
Jesse's birthday present.
Jesse's wish list.
So thank you for taking time out of your week to listen to us take time out of our lives to wax poetic about a wonderful girl group that you should all go check out. We hope that you're having a fun and safe time still at home, you know. Hopefully the light at the end of the tunnel is upon us, my dudes. My dudes. Things are looking up. So thank you for listening to our podcast. You can find us wherever podcasts are listened to, but you can also go to our website, certifiednoonas.com, to see all of the links and check out everything, because Jessie links everything that we talk about in the podcasts. And if you want to become a supporter of this podcast, you can go to ko-fi.com/certifiednoonas to become part of our official Certified Found family, which is what we call our little group of supporters that keeps the lights on this beautiful podcast and keeps us going for 2+ years now. We've been going for a while. You ain't getting rid of us yet. Anyway, we hope you have a fantastic week. Stay safe, stay happy, and keep enjoying Asian entertainment. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.